All right, let's set the scene. An emergency session of the Galactic Council has been called. The topic of the day? Us, humanity. Imagine our ambassador, Rebecca Stone, walking into this massive chamber. It is dead silent. Every eye is on her, and let me tell you, they are not looking at her with friendship. It's a mix of fear and just total confusion. This is not your typical meet and greet.
And they get right to it. High Counselor Vin lays it out plain and simple. He says that in the last 17 joint military operations, human soldiers have had success rates that are, frankly, impossible, and their casualty numbers, almost zero. Now, you might think that's a compliment, but it's not. The tone is pure accusation. They want to know our secret. They think we have some kind of brutal, hidden training program. And they're convinced this training starts young, so they demand to see it. They want footage of how human children are prepared. Reluctantly, Ambassador Stone agrees, about to show them what we just call, well, being a kid. So first up on the big screen, Exhibit A. It's just a home video from a weekend soccer game. You've got 8 to 10-year-old kids running around on a sunny day kicking a ball. Totally normal, right? Well then, 2 kids running full tilt collide and go down hard. And a collective gasp just echoes through the Alien Council chamber. And this is where you see the huge disconnect. One of the kids gets up, knee scraped and bleeding. The ref gives him a quick look, and then the game just keeps going. The kid is still playing. To the aliens, this is absolute madness. A general stands up and demands to know why the injured youth combatant isn't being medically evacuated. They don't see a scraped knee. They see a deliberate, brutal exercise in pain tolerance. Ambassador Stone, probably thinking it can't get any worse, brings up the next clip. Youth hockey. Now you have 12-year-olds strapped into what the aliens can only describe as combat armor, on blades, intentionally slamming into each other at high speeds. The council just watches, completely stunned into silence. High Counselor Vin is just horrified. He looks at this and says, "This isn't a game. This is how you train shock troops." Then, on the screen, a kid takes a huge hit, gets looked over by a coach, and is sent right back out there 2 minutes later. One of their military advisors points out that an impact like that would have taken one of their own adult soldiers out of a fight for a week. The idea that millions of human children do this for fun, it just doesn't compute. Okay, so maybe showing something more disciplined? Stone puts on a clip of a martial arts class. This backfires. Big time. The council watches these little kids learning how to throw each other, how to fall without getting hurt, and even sparring. When one kid gets thrown hard to the mat, then just pops right back up and bows to their opponent, a decorated alien war hero literally has to get up and leave the room. For the aliens, this is the terrifying bottom line. Humans are conditioning all their children, not just the ones going into the military, to handle levels of pain and impact that would put their own seasoned veterans on the injured list. They see a culture where violence and injury have been turned into recreation, a game. So, the physical stuff is shocking enough. But as you're about to see, it's the psychological conditioning that truly, truly breaks them. The next video is quiet. It's a tender moment, actually. A dad is kneeling down, talking to his little 6-year-old girl, and he's gently explaining that her grandpa is really sick and is probably going to die soon. He's comforting her, but he's being honest about death. The alien delegates are just aghast. One of them whispers, You explain mortality to them? Before they can even fully comprehend life? And this really shows the massive cultural divide. The ambassador tries to explain that we prepare children for grief because loss is an inevitable part of life. And Counselor Vin just latches onto that one word, inevitably. The very idea that you would build a philosophy around the assumption that a child is guaranteed to experience devastating loss, to them, that is just a culture built on premeditated trauma. From there, the evidence shifts to what the aliens can only see as a culture completely obsessed with disaster. They're about to see our everyday safety drills through their terrified eyes. First, a fire drill. An alarm blares, and kids just calmly line up and walk out of their school. The aliens think we're training them to expect their schools to become fiery death traps at any moment. But that's nothing compared to the next clip, a lockdown drill. The lights go out, the door is locked, and you see these 6-year-olds huddled in a dark corner being perfectly silent, practicing how to hide from a murderer. A decorated alien general actually starts to weep. And it's a hardened warrior, Admiral Hell, who delivers this absolutely crushing verdict. He doesn't see a safety drill. He sees a species that has failed so profoundly to protect its own children that it's normalized, teaching them how to hide from their own kind. And when the ambassador says, we do it because we love them, it just doesn't land.
So at this point, the Council has only one possible conclusion. They believe they are watching a species that systematically traumatizes its children from the moment they're born. A species that forces them to understand that they are fragile, that they are mortal, and that they are always in danger, all to create a population of super soldiers. But they are missing one crucial piece of information.
And this is the pivot. This is the moment Ambassador Stone finally gives them the context that changes everything.
She introduces a new concept to them, a biological classification, not a military one, the idea of a death world, a planet that is so fundamentally hostile that just the act of survival requires extreme resilience and a state of constant readiness. And then she tells them, that world is Earth. And then she lists the reasons why. Our planet's gravity is crushing compared to most of theirs. Our weather is just violent. We've got hurricanes, tornadoes, earthquakes, floods, wildfires, not to mention predators. For most of human history, just making it to adulthood was a coin toss. That is the environment our childhood is designed for.
And then she says the line that reframes this whole entire thing. What you see as military conditioning is Earth conditioning. It's not about making warriors. It's about making humans who can survive on Earth. We teach kids to fall because on a high-gravity world, you're going to fall, and it's going to hurt. We teach them about danger because our world is genuinely dangerous. The training isn't for a war with others. It's for the war of daily life.
And with that one piece of context, everything shifts. The horror in the room is replaced by a slow, dawning, and maybe even more terrifying sense of understanding. Ambassador Stone keeps saying we are not warriors, but from their point of view, she's wrong. To them, a warrior is someone trained to endure hardship, adapt to danger, and stay calm under pressure. By that definition, every single human child gets warrior training just by growing up.
And it's that veteran Pell, the one who had to leave the room earlier, who puts it together perfectly. He says, you don't create soldiers, you create survivors. And when one of those survivors decides to become a soldier, they are the most formidable thing in the galaxy. The baseline for a human survivor is higher than the elite training for their soldiers.
But the final, most profound thought comes from the ancient counselor Marith. She realizes humans have been fighting a low-grade war against their own planet for their entire existence. For us, the line between getting ready for your day and getting ready for battle has just completely blurred away. They're the same thing.
And so, the session ends. Earth gets a new classification, Class Omega Death World. The Council finally gets it. We aren't monsters. We're just from Earth. And that leaves us all with one final, pretty chilling question. If we look out at the rest of the galaxy and think it looks like a nice, safe place compared to home, what does that mean for everybody else?